You're watching Force 13's live streaming service. You're watching Force 13's Tropical Weather Bulletin with your presenter, Nathan Foy. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Force 13 Live. My name's Nathan Foy, and what you're looking at on the outset here is Tropical Storm Fiona, which is active. It's not the only thing that's active around the world right now. We've got a lot of other things going on at the same time. Hello, I'm here. There's my face. Wow, what a novelty. I'm joined this evening by the Skype team, who are somewhere in the background. You'll see them in a few moments as well, if you're lucky. And, oh yes, there they are. Devon, Hank, and John are joining us this evening. Hello, can we hear you? Yes, we can hear everyone. I mean, it would help if someone would talk.
Mike is being very temperamental. I might need to buy a new headset sooner or later, but that's not the point. Good evening, everyone who is watching. This is just a little... This is open mic, right?
Well, we're talking about a few particular things. For instance, we're going to be talking about what's going on in the Atlantic and in the Pacific. Because there is a lot of things happening everywhere. But here we are for the show. Hey.
Just a little word of warning. My mic might be going in and out because my headset might be dying. So, just a little word of warning. I have the wire, weirdly placed so it actually works. So I might need to buy a new headset sooner or later.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah, this one only lasted a month, which is sad.
Is this the John's headphone show? Hank,
but
how
regardless,
are you?
We got topics to talk about. Let's go to Hank.
How are you doing?
Okay. If there's a little bit of background noise, that's because it is pouring in buckets outside my house. But that's besides the point.
Not bad.
Anyway, I brought up some graphics that I wanted to show, specifically about the
Alright, we'll just get onto that in just a moment. I just want to say hi to Devon as well. How are you, Devon? Silent
Okay,
Devon.
so this is the current scene across the Atlantic. We have Tropical Storm Fiona, which is a very minimal tropical storm at that. Should weaken to a depression sometime tomorrow. Invest 99L, which is probably posing the biggest threat to land. And then this other area of interest, just leaving the African coastline. So if we start off with Fiona, it looks like it's just going to weaken steadily and then possibly dissipate by Monday night. And then the remnants may try to move close to Bermuda. Some of the models are trying to indicate that it could brush the east coast of the United States. I find that unlikely at this point, considering how weak the storm will be at that point. And so that's Fiona. Index 99L is the one that I'm most concerned about, and I think everyone else here is the most concerned about, because it is probably heading towards Lesser Antilles. If you watched this show earlier on, then you would have heard Adam say, go into detail about this storm. But in general, here's just the key and all this sort of stuff up here. In general, the storm is expected to move towards the west, towards the Lesser Antilles, could become a depression sometime midweek towards Tuesday, and then maybe a tropical storm by Wednesday. If it gets a tropical storm name, then its name would be Gaston. And it would head, I think it's going to head first towards, the northern Virgin Islands, and then possibly skirt the northern coast of Puerto Rico. And then after that, it's relatively uncertain whether it'll curve out to sea, maybe affecting Bermuda, or as some of the models are indicating, it could move up the east coast as a fairly significant storm, or could move towards Florida, and they would have their first hurricane in 11 years, or by all hell means, it moves towards Louisiana, where they've gotten just completely slammed the past couple of weeks with 30 inches of rainfall in some areas. So that's not what they want at all.
Insult to injury.
Yes, insult to injury. And this definitely one to watch if your interests lie in the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, or even the Dominican Republic. Then you want to keep an eye on the storm very closely. Behind that, we have another area of interest. Oh yeah, by the way, this has a 10% chance of formation in the next 10 days, or not next 2 days, and a 60% chance in the next 5 days. This area that is just now leaving the coast of Africa has a 10% chance of developing in the next 7 days, but a higher 70% chance in the next 2 days, or next 5 days. And so this one is not designated as an invest yet. It will be probably very soon. If this one gets a name, then it would be named Hermine. Really, these two could alternate. Whichever one forms first would be named Gaston. It's not that big a deal. Before we move on, one quick thing. Let's look at the rest of the 2016 season compared. We've had, right now this is the current system. Next four names, Gaston, Hermine, Ian, and Julia. If you want to glance at this graphic, then you can pause this and look at it. I'm not going to go into detail. I'm going to pass it off to someone else if they want to talk.
Yes. It looks like that for the first time in a few years, we're going to have some Cape Verde activity in the Atlantic, which hasn't been much of a feature over the last couple of years, has it?
No,
Yeah.
not really.
Hardly.
Could you call Humberto a Cape Verde system, or even Fred?
I mean, it's just we haven't had a significant Cape Verde system in over 4 or 5 years. The last one that comes to my mind, this is probably because I'm familiar with this since it did hit me, in fact. The last one that came to my mind was Irene of 2011, but that's the last one I remember that was a Cape Verde system. Regardless, Cape Verde systems are the strongest storms of the season, usually the biggest, the longest tracking, longest lasting. Florida, possibly in the bullseye, we don't know yet. We gotta wait a couple days, we gotta look at a couple model runs, we'll see. I think one model run the other day pretty much said something very odd. I think one model run the other day was hinting at an Andrew-like track we were looking at the other day, a model run.
Yeah, I don't think that's very likely. And Devin's saying Irene wasn't a Cape Verde system.
Devin's face was a picture, by the way, just then. He's disagreement with me there.
Anyway.
For some reason, Devin's silent. I don't know. There must be some microphone problems. Just nod if that's the case.
Last Cape Verde system I remember that did significant stuff was Isaac, other than Earl this year. And the what was I going to say earlier? I forgot what I was going to say. Something about I don't remember.
Lost your track. Okay, well, shall we go to the Pacific, perhaps?
Devin might be leaving for dinner sooner or later. And my Skype is glitching.
Well, that
Nice.
does happen at around this time of day. If you're unaware of what the situation is in the Western Pacific, then there are quite a few systems active there. 3, in fact. I can't remember the numbers. Which numbers was it? 10, 12, and 13? Or did I get that wrong?
Right.
Like Devin's showing some models here.
Minjul
model firm.
heading towards Japan, and 2 others that are sort of hitting Japan as well, which we'll get
Looks
onto
like-
shortly.
Looks like
Is-
that Devin's showing us some model plumes here.
Is that what Devon's showing us? Well, that's interesting.
Yes.
Showing us the 3 parts there. Fiona on the sort of top left, 99L down at the bottom, and the one behind it, I assume, towards the right-hand side of the image, which is obscured by John. That's because of the software. But somewhere over there, and you can see the models are probably in the most agreement, about 99L at least. I mean, well, for the first 2 or 3 days. And then
72.
afterwards, it's a question of whether it goes properly into the Caribbean Sea, or whether it skirts north and takes a track, well, I guess similar to maybe Earl? Or 2010?
Here,
2010, yes.
I mean, if a storm, this is usually when you get to the Antilles, this is a really division point for storms. Really, some storms just brush the Antilles to the north or south. Some miss by a mile north or south. And by a mile, I mean a long way. It's not like an actual mile. Yikes.
Yeah, some storms like the ones in the Western Pacific miss them by a few thousand miles.
Ha ha ha. And you also have that storm, like Erica, it just pound. It just takes a straight line whack through all the Antilles.
Through the middle ones, yes.
Yeah, that is a very nasty track. I mean, number one, the storm's gonna be, not very strong through that track because land interaction and because there are a lot of mountains on those islands. They might look small, but there are mountains on them. Also, at the same time, it's just you could just dump buckets of rain on those islands if the storm's just going really slow. Like Erica, Dominica just got completely drenched because of how slow it was moving through the Greater Antilles. Erica. So it's just if we get a 99L like track that is like an Erica like track that just dumps rain, I mean, yeah, it's not going to be pretty. But some models on 99L are trending to the Caribbean. Some are trending north of the Antilles. It's a really hard call at this point. We need to keep an eye on these systems. I did notice a slight pattern shift in terms of where we're seeing our tracks. I noticed that there is this huge high pressure just sitting over the Caribbean. Is that still the case, Nathan? We still got a huge bridge over the Caribbean?
I've no idea.
I might look at the synoptics. I'll let someone else take over while I look at the synoptic scale.
Yeah, well, I just want to let everyone know of everything that's going on worldwide right now because we've not quite done that yet. So, Fiona, which we know about, that's 40 miles an hour and a pressure of 1,008 millibars. It's quite far away from land. The Invest 99L, which according to the National Hurricane Center has a 10% chance in the next 2 days and a 60% chance in the next 5 days as it moves towards the west. Quite low latitude at the moment. It is at probably... it's probably at about 12 degrees north. And the other disturbance, I'm not sure if it's been tagged as an Invest yet or not, is just emerging off the coast of Africa. That has a 10% chance in the next 48 hours and a 70% chance in the next 5 days. So that one is one to watch. And it's no guarantee that 99L will become Gaston, because if the one behind it gets a spurt on, that one could become Gaston, and the 99L could become Hermine. So that would be rather interesting. The Eastern Pacific currently has a tropical storm in the name of K, 50 miles an hour, pressure's 1,000 millibars, and it is currently moving away from land. So no warnings in effect. That's 20 north and 113 west, roughly. And then to the other side of that big pond, the Pacific, into the western side where we have 3 named storms active, and they're all in a very specific area around Japan. First we have Kompasu, which is...
Thank God I can find a surface analysis
map. I can't remember where that name comes from, but it means compass in English. And that's just off the east coast of northern Honshu in Japan, with winds of 40 miles an hour, 45 according to the JMA, pressure of 996. Line Rock, which is just south of Shikoku, which you can just about see on the screen share there, the small one south of Japan that's swirling about. That also has 45 mile an hour winds according to the JMA and a pressure of 994. And the big one that you can see on that image there as well, which is Minjul, which is the strongest, believe it or not, with winds of 60 miles an hour according to Japan, with a pressure of 985. And looks about right looking at that storm there. I don't know if we could get any close-ups on that at all on the floaters or on Rambo or somewhere, but that's the next task for whoever's screen sharing. But that's all of the storms around the world right now. John?
Yeah, I finally have synoptics up on the Atlantic, finally. So I can confirm whether we have a ridge over the Caribbean, and yeah, that's still kind of the case. So, Give me a second. That's not what I wanted. I didn't want the snipping tool. Again, I'm still young at doing live streams. I am not good at this at all.
Oh, please.
Yeah, you should see the US live streams. They are not as high quality as this. They are worse. Then again, I might be bashing on my own merits.
Yeah, instead of bashing it, why don't you advertise it? Force 13 US is one of our satellite channels, as John has his head in his hands because he doesn't want me to advertise it, but I'm doing it anyway. And
no, go ahead.
Another outlet of Force 13. If anything goes on in the US, then John and friends will be right on top of it. And if you live in the United States and would be interested in getting being a part of Force 13 US, then go right ahead. It's not necessarily covering storms, it's all kinds of weather that is going on in the US.
I am the head of that branch, by the way.
We had to get
regardless. Okay, yes. It looks like that there's this huge ridge over the Caribbean at the moment here. That's pretty clear, right?
Are you screen sharing?
Yes, I am. This is a synoptic
you're not.
of the incident. Really?
Try again.
Wow! Give me a sec. I gotta reload. Wow. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Oh God. Okay. Live air stress.
No time for fumbling now, John. You're on.
All right. We still got a pretty strong ridge over here, don't we? Looking at the surface analysis, 1017 is actually weakened a little bit. That's causing the steering pattern to be something more of like an out-to-sea type track, even though that's not exactly out to sea, but no one's perfect.
Yeah, and unfortunately we still can't see anything, so your stream isn't perfect either.
I'm going to have to pop in and out real quick.
Yes,
right?
Quite possibly. Well, don't worry about it. We'll talk about other things. I just want to... I'm actually in the process of getting up imagery of Minjul right now in the Western Pacific. And let's blow that image. Well, there's that image there that I think.
All right, this should work now.
John showing us, but I just want to blow this image up here so that everyone can see it. This is a close-up, as you can see, of Minjul. A very broad system. You can actually see two storms on there, as I said. Lion Rock to the northwest there of that image, and they're both. Could affect Japan. All three of them could affect Japan in some way or another. Lion Rock will probably affect it the least at this moment in time. It is moving southwest. It will sort of be pushed out the way by Minjul. It's a very complex situation. And there is a rumble or two that could develop, that could move towards the southwest far enough to enter that area, that sweet spot of the Western Pacific, where it could develop into a typhoon and then maybe hit Taiwan or Japan again. So who knows? But there's Minjul, which is the biggest one that we're looking at. Could make it to Tokyo as a Cat 2, which is what one of the models was saying not long ago. John, I know you're itching to talk, so go ahead.
Could we see a Fujiwara interaction between these two systems near Japan at the moment?
It's already is happening.
As I was about to say, it is occurring, which is very apt, occurring near Japan, Fujiwara. There it is, yes. It is. Those storms are influencing each other, and it's sort of... Lion Rock is, I guess, circling Minjul in a way.
Here is what I was trying to explain here, the surface analysis chart, which has eluded me for the last 3 tries at the screen share, but now it's working, I'm assuming.
We've got it. Finally.
We still have a pretty strong ridge here. This is probably an upper level ridge, most likely. And it looks like this is pretty much what's causing the steering of Fiona right here, is that this blocking ridge at the upper levels is just steering Fiona out to sea. This is an interesting pattern that has set up. It looks like we're going to have a similar pattern for maybe a week or two of 2010, maybe. Not certain here. We still got our classic Azores highs sitting right there around 1025 millibars, which is typical. It looks like the NC has tagged a tropical wave after Africa. This is the AOI that Hank was talking about. This is 99L down here, by the way. just this tropical wave that's just below the just next to the 40W sign here, or note rather. There's a deep low over the Central Atlantic, but we're not caring. Northern Central Atlantic, but we're not caring about this. We're not talking extratropics. We're talking tropics. Again, we have our. Looks like we do have a stationary front sitting here, but really, looks like that. I heard that there's a mild tornado threat over here today, but that's just a guess in my opinion. I mean, I haven't been keeping tabs and everything here. I've been kind of busy today.
No, I think is probably the easiest
Safer.
way to put that. The Storm Prediction Center does have a marginal risk of severe weather as the low pressure system is moving through Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan, and storms are definitely pushing through there and basically the entire southeast United States, but certainly not any
Tornado risk.
kind of a widespread severe threat.
It's just localized to the state of Michigan at the moment.
And then heavy rains and flash flooding going on in my area.
Yeah, caused by this upper low over here.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Dumping buckets for the past at least hour, so at least 3 inches of rain has fallen according to some graphics, some lightning's flashing. Some water rescues over in Del Rio, which is about 200 miles to my south, not to my south, to my east, to my west. I cannot remember directions at this point. And yeah, it's been kind of it's just the beginning of what could come. Some models saying a bullseye of at least 15 inches just to the west of my area, which would help with our lakes, but that's it.
Again, a steering pattern that is a new steering pattern has set up where you have your Azores high here spinning clockwise. It just picks up the system. There's reason why we haven't seen any Caribbean systems the last couple of weeks is because there's just been ridge just sitting over the Caribbean. I'm not sure if Adam covered this on the Caribbean Weather Desk. I didn't watch that because. So yeah, that ridge looks like it is beginning to weaken, but it is, according to the Ocean Prediction Center, it is stationary. So it's not moving anywhere anytime soon. So I'm gonna toss it over to someone else.
Yes, well, if you've got any questions or comments about the stream that is underway, please let us know. And there is a particular comment. Cameron Richards says, can you show us the East Atlantic? I assume on satellite imagery, or I don't know whether that might be in synopsis or what. But,
I'll work on pulling up a METSAT image as soon as possible.
Here is.
I assume he wants to look at what's going on off the coast of Africa.
That's
Here's the current shear map. We got about probably roughly 30 to 40 knots on Fiona's northeastern side. I almost said northwestern. My directions are bad today. Fiona is going to continue to. It looks like it's going through this polka dot board of shear. It looks like as it continues its recurvature track. It's hard to tell. I mean, you got low shear here, you got high shear there. I mean, what is this? Some sort of polka dot little T-shirt or something? Because I can't really tell what's going on at the shear of the Atlantic right now. It's like looking at a piece of Jackson Pollock. All right, it's everywhere. You got dots over here, dots over there. It's. But regardless, we're not talking about that much longer. Let's take a look at the East Atlantic for a change in terms of shear. So give me a sec. Where is the East Atlantic? There it is. Over here by Africa, we don't need to worry about 80% of this map. Here's the birds for your reference. You have, I think, AOI, which future 90L question mark right over here. You have 99L, which is probably right over here. Shear is kind of, iffy at the moment. it's moderate. It's sitting between 10, 20, maybe 30 knots here and there, but that's usually how it's rolling here in the Atlantic. I'm gonna see if I can find a map showing the SAL. I'll toss off to someone else while I get a map of the SAL. Give me a sec.
Actually, I wanted to talk about something going on in the Eastern Pacific right now, and that is
Go ahead.
Tropical Storm K. If my screen share will work with me, I will show you what is going on. And yes, okay. So we got Tropical Storm K. Currently to the southwest of Cabo San Lucas, moving off towards the west-northwest, and it is probably going to just fizzle out as we get into midweek. Poses no threat to land, but is providing you some tropical moisture going on in my area. And yeah, it's been a while since we've seen a East Pacific storm, and I guess it's just kind of a break to the at least 10-day gap where we didn't have a storm. So, following the record act of July, of course. So, yeah. Yeah, not much to say on K, really. So, I'm going to pass it over.
Give me a second.
That was K.
Righty.
Okay.
As far as the conditions over in Eastern Africa and the East Atlantic, here is Meteosat 10 animation of, I think this is about the past 12 hours. You can see there
The next system.
swirls starting to exit Africa. Now, this is what I'm shocked that they haven't tagged it yet, but this is what should become Invest 90L very shortly. And I personally think that the prospects look a lot better for this system than 99L, which is probably much more likely to dissipate before it even gets to the Caribbean. It's really not looking well. Neither's Fiona, for that matter.
Fiona isn't looking wonderful, is it?
No. In fact, really, none of the storms worldwide are looking wonderful. I mean, the interesting dynamic where we have 5 different lows active currently in the West Pacific. You had those 3 storms that you talked about, plus an invest near the Philippines and an invest that is to the south and east of that storm complex just off the coast of Japan. And so that's a very interesting dynamic in the WPAC, where in the West Pacific, where just everything is in the same spot. And
Not
hey, there's going to
conducive
be one
for-
area of favorability.
Not conducive for a dominant system there, is it, in the Westpac?
Now, there really isn't there really won't be a dominant system until the other smaller systems go away. What happens to Lion Rock in the future, as it is expected to meander off the coast of Japan for a few days? Not really affect any land, maybe the minor outlying islands of Japan. There even are. They might get affected by it, but I don't think that this storm would affect them significantly.
Some models not so long ago were saying that it could be as strong as a Cat 3, but they've backed off that.
Yes.
I'm looking at you, HWRF, and now it's saying only a tropical storm.
Well, there could be. I've been looking at the system through the GFS model and the European model, and I tell you what, the 2 models couldn't be further apart. They really couldn't. They are so wildly different. They might be about the same on track, but they are just so wildly different on intensities. It makes any kind of intensity guidance rather annoying. Like, you have 99L here, which far off into the future is expected to become some sort of strong tropical storm. I don't understand how that's possible, but some kind of strong tropical system far off into the future. And the European model kills it by day 3.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
It's really divisive here.
you really can't be further off with those 2. Now, I really think that this system coming off of Africa now, it already has a very impressive swirl to it, and I really don't think it'll take very long for if it continues looking like this, I don't think it'll take very long for it to get a designation from the National Hurricane Center. It's looking very great coming right off the coast of Africa.
So this could be one of those straight up TDs right off the coast.
I don't know if it'll be right off the coast, but I'd probably say within 24 hours of emerging, this thing should be designated. All of the models, no matter what you look at, the Euro, the GFS, the CMC, the NavGem, all of them expect this system to develop very quickly into a tropical depression as it comes off of Africa. And I'd be definitely surprised if it doesn't get designated. I would say in the next 36 hours, I'd say it's very likely.
So future 90L looking like the more favorable option here in the Atlantic.
As of right now, yes. I think that system is certainly looking well. The model outlook on it is excellent. How strong is it going to get in the future? That's probably left to be another 5 or 6 days down the line. We'll have to see how far it ends up curving, how quickly it ends up curving.
What type of track it takes.
I don't see this being any kind of a bomb, but it certainly seems like it will attain tropical storm status by the time it completely passes the Cape Verde Islands. So definitely what should be a quickly developing system here coming off of Africa.
Do you think we're going to... It can... that 99L will at least maintain tropical storm intensity for X amount of hours.
99L is going to die in like 2 or 3 days.
I think the shear is going to kill it, or in the dry air, more or less.
Well, yeah, but it's
pretty much already dead. Like,
I have a graphic here of the Saharan air layer right now. Here you see TS Fiona up here in the upper left-hand corner here. You have 99L down here, and you have the area of interest, which will possibly be designated 90L around the next ATCF run, maybe? Question mark.
I think it'll be designated as soon as it comes off the coast of Africa here.
It has to be.
I think it looks...
It looks just too good.
Fantastic on the animation, and the model outlook is just too good to deny that the system's going to develop. So I say more to you.
The Saharan air layer looks like it's weakened a bit here.
Probably.
For the west.
Probably due to Fiona funneling tropical moisture up that little spacing there.
Do you think that Fiona was the one that pretty much broke the dry air wall that existed?
Well, sort of no. It's important that the storms stay pretty far south if they're going to have any luck. In the Eastern Atlantic. I mean, well, gee, 99L hasn't had much luck. And it's supposedly in a decent area.
99L really hasn't had any luck. And I'll certainly say I have a hard time seeing this thing not just making it to Caribbean. I have a hard time seeing this storm develop like the CMC model expects it to do once it gets into the Caribbean and around Puerto Rico. Is expecting it to develop as it gets to the northwest, and I just don't see how that's happening. I know the shear isn't favorable. John just showed that. The dry air is... there's plenty of that, and it's also very, very stable. A very, very stable atmosphere towards that area.
Well, so also consider that after it passes that area, once it gets towards the Bahamas and maybe even South Florida, it's stuck together.
That's if it makes it there.
Ooh, look at
that. Yeah, I said that's what I said, if it makes it.
But as John is showing right now, it really has to cross the panel of death here.
So much dry air.
You take a look at that. You can call it dry air or stable air or whatever you want to say. It's really not conductive for development. Now you can see that there is a moisture trail that goes back into Africa in which 90L is going to be developing in. So, or whatever it's called now. I don't even think it's designated yet.
I don't believe
Um,
so.
Consider the nation
You
will
can
just name
see
whatever
that
they
there's a
want.
moisture trail that extends back towards Africa. And 90L is going to at least develop it in that.
And a question
So
from
that's
one of our
looking
viewers,
good there, but you can
if I may.
yes, go ahead.
Storm Chaser 75 says 99L, if it survives the dry air and wind shear, will it make it to the so-called promised land? That's my words, not his. And threaten the East Coast.
Ooh.
Tough one.
Well, way away.
Sorry?
It is at least 5 days away. I would
From the
say
East
4
Caribbean.
to 5 days away from making it to the Caribbean, and probably another 3 days away from making it to the Bahamas after that. And I'm not going to go ahead and put a prediction 1 week in advance. It's just silly.
Do you think 99L?
If it does make it there with the current conditions that they are now, obviously those conditions are going to change. But if the conditions stay over the week, it does look like a better place for development than where it is now. Yes. That's about all that I can say.
I thought John
Alright.
had something to say.
I mean, are conditions more favorable in the Caribbean right now?
Not in the Caribbean. I'm talking like off the to the
Florida.
north and east of the Bahamas, towards Georgia, South Carolina coast, that area.
Oh yeah,
Seems
the
to
Gulf
be a little
Stream.
bit-
Gulf Stream.
It seems to be a little bit better. Wind shear might be an issue if you get too far north from what I'm looking at. But
Well, we get wind shear up here all the time. I mean, this is where I
yeah, that's
am. It's
definitely where I'm
typical. It's typical. I mean,
Okay,
if
so-
Fiona looks like it's just getting bombarded by shear right now on this
So
graphic,
that's
and
that.
and
Yeah.
shear and dry air
Oh.
ingestion.
It's getting destroyed, isn't it? Look.
That almost looks like Danny from last year when it hit the dry air pocket.
Yeah, I guess. Does anyone want to show us the West Pacific and maybe some model runs there, perhaps?
Give me a second.
Oh boy, model runs in the West Pacific. They're always fun to look at.
Of course, that's why I said.
Okay, let's see.
Well, I guess I'll play devil's advocate on this one.
All right, let's see.
We're gonna start off with. I'll start off with a conservative one, the Nav Gem, a good model, and you can see here right on the initial we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different areas that we're looking at here, and 3 of them are all within the same closed isobar, which is also very interesting.
Wow.
As you can see, the NavGem expects, oh boy, I don't even know what these, I'm going to need to remind myself the names of these 3 systems.
Mindula at the bottom, Lion Rock above it.
Okay, so it's Mindula down here, Lion Rock above it, and
Kampasu on the side.
Kampasu.
Compass.
Okay. Well, the NavGem expects Mindula to completely absorb Lion Rock as it makes landfall near Tokyo, and then a separate system reform here to the south and west
Wow.
doesn't really do well.
Then there's
I'll
3
just sit
others.
Yeah, that's something else.
Wow, this might be the
Definitely
quietest
is.
Westpac here in a while.
Well, not necessarily
Definitely
quietest,
a-
but you know, all this West Pacific fidgeting, I might call it, might it lead to a season that doesn't have any more big Cat 5s?
Nepertech was pretty good. I mean, 897 millibars.
Yeah, well, let's
That's
hark back to the
not
days when
bad.
we had. Let's hark back to the days when we had 2 in succession back in whenever it was.
2015. They had Nold and Dolphin.
Well, even 2015. I was thinking more of the 50s and 60s when they had 2 sub 900 storms in a row.
Or back in 1997.
Yes, and 1979.
Oh, El
Tip
Nino,
and
you
Vera.
actually make the
Yeah, you had Tip and Vera. That was something else.
No one remembers Vera, which came just after Tip, but we were looking at it in recent weeks, and it was really impressive as well.
yes. was
Anyways,
back-
here's what the GFS is saying. Again, Mindula almost absorbing Lion Rock there. And now Lion Rock is kind of just sitting there. Other storms developing around it. And, well, it just kind of sits there and does nothing.
It kind of is
Which is
drunk.
interesting.
Drunk.
The CMC model.
What happened?
Do I have to play this model?
Yes, it's an obligation.
Okay, well, the CMC model shows landfall much further to the west for Mindula. And yeah, I think this image pretty much sums it up for you guys about why I groan about this model.
Oh, what
What is
happened
expecting
there?
5 days from now? We have Invest, I think 90W is the one to the east. That develops into a typhoon as it races off. And then it has a currently westward traveling Invest shoot back and start traveling eastward. And my cursor's frozen.
Oh, spoiled the fun.
Curse
Oh,
that
hold on.
cursor.
Cursed cursor.
The CMC. It's like it's on what's the word? It's like it's on weed or something. It's just
Oh dear.
it's like, yeah, this is gonna happen.
There we go. Yeah,
Oh,
well,
we're
the CMC then has 91W shoot north and eastward, become a tropical storm, maybe even a typhoon, and then has Lion Rock shoot south and west towards Taiwan as a typhoon, and then make landfall in China, and then proceed to have 3 more tropical storms
Oh, my
develop.
word. And what's that coming in from the Central
And
Pacific?
I see no less than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different areas of low pressure
This
here.
is just crazy land. That's CMC.
That is what happens when you trust a Canadian.
More, please.
No more, please.
And
I
all
live
Canadians
close
are
to
now
it.
offended. Moving on.
And now we have the ECMWF. Oh, you can't offend a Canadian, dude. Now you have the ECMWF.
Which is the nice
Again,
model.
here are our 5 areas of interest. And probably the first thing that should be noted is that this is Lion Rock, and now this is now Mindula. 90, 91L. Keeping it going, Mindula turns to the east. Now this is already, Lion Rock's already turned to the east. Stalls, strengthens, rapidly. I think that says 9:59 there by day 5.
Ooh.
Near landfall in Okinawa.
948, I
Like,
believe.
just north into the East China
And
Sea.
then, I knew this was going to happen. Turns back to the northeast.
Oh,
Nine-
my.
Oh, 27!
927 with another tropical storm there. And then cut back
What?
to the northwest.
What?
Wow!
Hold on a
And
minute.
try to execute another
What?
loop at the 930 millibar system. What does this think it is? Typhoon Rita?
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. It's absolutely ludicrous. And that's the CMWF, which Devon,
But-
I mean, holds in extremely high regard.
I swear by the European model, but the European model has gone absolutely nuts over Lion Rock the past
No more,
day.
please.
I'll bring up the previous model run for Lion Rock, and I promise you, it's just as ludicrous. Yeah, 911 millibars this time as it kind of moves north, then moves west, then moves southwest, and then moves back east. Probably back to move back north. I don't know what the European model's doing with the system, but the European model has been absolutely crazy for Lion Rock's development. Yeah, here's 3 model runs in a row. That one probably being the most optimistic.
Ooh.
4
Oh, what?
runs in a row. Make that
These-
5 model runs in a row as we just keep on scrolling down.
Wow.
And here's one that doesn't have Lion Rock as a, well, maybe. Oh, 940.
When you see 5 model runs in a row that say something like that, surely that makes it
That-
at least a
that-
little bit more
I mean,
believable.
It's concerning that the ECMWF is saying stuff like
Certainly
this.
concerning, that's for sure.
Because
mean,
the
could we
ECMWF isn't usually like this.
Wrong.
Okay, I now want to take a look at what the HWRF has to say about it.
Is it going to be another year like 1972 in the Westpac, a year where all the storms lost their Compassu and got lost?
Well, Lion Rock certainly is not going to have any Compassu, as this storm seems like it's going to be moving north, south, east, west, wherever it feels like.
Wow.
It's drunk. So drunk, isn't it?
Yeah, so Lion Rock is definitely a system I'm keeping a close eye on, mainly because of how optimistic the the ECMWF is on it. It's
They're both the same,
definitely.
don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the ECMWF is by far an outlier in all those model runs as well, which is equally as interesting.
I think that Lion Rock might need to go to an Alcoholics Anonymous anonymous meeting.
I think
surely
you
not
might have
talking
to
about
go
you,
visit one,
John.
John. You're slurring your
No.
speech.
Yeah, I guess
Yes.
it's just one of those days. What do I have up I wanted to show? I keep forgetting. Oh yes, I have Atlantic models
Oh,
on
good.
screen.
Oh, yummy!
Just to remind
I've
everyone,
already shown the Atlantic models on the spaghetti map that I posted earlier.
you did
Yeah, but we
indeed.
didn't
We'll
see-
remind everyone in just a moment. But if you've got any comments or questions for us whilst we're on air, which I don't know how much longer we'll be on air for, but I don't know if you guys want to stay into the next hour. But we're coming up to the end of this one in 10 minutes. If you've got any comments or questions, just send
What's
them in.
going on?
I don't really have much else to say. I don't see any storms being a very significant threat to land. Probably Mandula. Mandula's going to be a very quick passage on Japan, so I don't expect it to do too much. Definitely will bring some gusty winds. Definitely will bring some rain, but I don't see this thing causing major problems.
GFS saying,
Uh-oh.
okay,
Well, what is this? What pressure's on that?
65,
Don't-
9.
Oh, it looks worse from where I'm sitting.
I-
It looks like it's going to deepen.
I
Looks like
am
a front is trying to
officially
develop.
done.
So, alright. So it looks like we got a cold front trying to develop here. So this might be a passage transition point here. Regardless, though, Maybe a Cat 1 at best, GFS is saying, and this might be a recurving system. And more strong waves out to sea. 99L, not doing much. 99L just gets wrecked.
Yeah, I can't even see
Right.
it. It's that
Yeah.
thing that goes in, gives some rain to
There was
Lesser
Fiona.
Antilles.
Fiona was right there. There it was. Oh no! I hit the wrong arrow!
John, you're not supposed to
What?
do that.
I am supposed to do that. I'm foolish, remember?
I see.
I am the Force 13 clown.
Yes, but this is not Force 13's comedy hour.
Clearly not. ECMWF saying interesting. Let's see what the F wants to say.
Let's have a look, yes.
Looks like okay.
Oh,
Looks
now,
like
is that
a
Gaston?
very compact system out of Gaston. Very compact. Look at that.
And what is
Yes,
that?
the
Is that remnants
ECMW
of Fiona near Bermuda?
Another reason why I'm very pro Invest 90L here whenever it decides to form is because the CMWF is developing Invest 90L, and you can definitely tell that it's 90 and not 99.
Yes.
Look at this. This at least peaks 965. That's at least a category 3. Or
No,
2.
Not necessarily.
no,
That's 2.
That's a two.
that's a mid 2, man. Come on.
It's a mid
Yeah.
2. I'm sorry. Well, Michael was
I don't think
964.
If 90L develops, I don't think it'll get that strong. I think that's a little ridiculous, but
So that's the ECMWF. When is it not ridiculous? When is it?
when does it A, not say outlandish things, and B, when is it not wrong?
True. So we might have a Cat 2 here, according to the E ECMWF.
And
You change your tune quickly, John. You went from this is
Yeah.
ridiculous to oh yes, it might be a cat too.
Well, I
What if
thought
Orlando just
I thought I was looking at the CMC for a minute.
Ah, you got your
Because
models
the
confused.
the CMC predicts more ludicrous things than that. I mean, I'm just going to confirm this.
It has a very mixed track record, in my opinion.
I just want to confirm something about the CMC.
Yes.
And it's I don't know what it is with it, but there's always something interesting about the CMC on every single model run that it has.
Fiona actually remains a compact TD/TS most likely. Landfall under Bermuda. Strengthens a little bit. We might actually have one of those Gulf cutoff tropical storms here, but that might actually just be an extratropical system. CMC actually develops 99L here, just east of the Bahamas. And then 90L, Fiona actually stalls a little bit and strengthens to probably a 50-60 mile an hour TS.
Yes, I can confirm that the CMC develops a Southwest Indian Ocean cyclone.
Again.
The CMC also develops.
The CMC has been predicting a Southwest Indian Ocean cyclone every single run for the last 3 months.
Been right
know.
only
Why
once.
hasn't it happened yet?
Once.
Well, it's happened once.
Once and only. It looks like the CMC wants to develop a weaker Floyd. It seems Gaston is actually 90L looks like it's going to be weaker. 995, possibly a very weak TS, and then 962. This looks like that this model run here is either predicting
Like
a
an Irene.
Floyd, an Irene or a Floyd, a weaker Irene or a weaker Floyd or a weaker Gloria. I don't know. This is strange. Why is the CMC thinking this? And then
Because
we have
it's the CMC.
and now here we have this random TS, and then here's remnants of Fiona going out to sea.
It's not that
Extratropical
random, is it?
remnant.
A
I said
remnant
not random.
TS.
Let's take a look at the Navgem. Navgem, please be reasonable. That's spoilers. Looks like that Fiona gets does something. 99L.
Oh, very descriptive, John.
I don't know what Fiona's doing up here. I'm confused. Here we have 99L strengthening a bit here.
That's
It looks like
Gaston right there.
Yes. And then we have. That's it.
I guess
Interesting.
that's Hermine behind it, probably named at that point, but there's 2 other systems there as well, behind them.
This one looks like future
Do you
91L.
think that's plausible, Devon, that we'll see more systems behind what will be 90L?
Okay, let's count this. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think that would probably take another week or so, but yeah, when taking a look at that, when taking a look at the imagery of Africa, I did see an Eastern African wave developing over there, which could probably move off at sometime next week. So yeah, it could be very interesting.
This is 99L model run here.
And
Very nothing. Hold on, nothing from GFDL.
I think, John, you should put on the GFDLP, which shows
Yeah, the
more.
parent.
yeah,
Hurricane.
I can't remember the last time that the Atlantic has been this active when I've been tracking.
Neither do I. This is a big map. I might have to use my arrow keys.
And that's saying something. The Atlantic's been active, more active than this on many occasions. We are
Well, I know
running
that,
out of
but,
time, though, John.
I've been really tracking since 2013, and that was a horrible year to start.
Well, I had a worse year to
March.
start, 2009.
I think 2013, I was tracking that for a while, and I stopped tracking as soon as Humberto became a hurricane.
2013 was bad.
No, 2013 was great, and then Humberto formed.
Why? Why is it great?
And then
Because it was.
Ingrid formed.
Oh, let's not talk about Ingrid.
Anyway,
It's in the grid.
Oh, why did Humberto and Ingrid have to ruin something so perfect?
Like
We
what? A
could've had
no hurricane
history.
season?
For the first time since 1914, which
oh boy.
We had no hurricanes.
Yeah, well, 1914 is probably the most legendary Atlantic hurricane season of all time.
That was the most dead.
No,
Devon's
There was
going off
There
on
was
one
probably
again.
more than one storm. Like, they weren't extending out to the central and eastern Atlantic. There couldn't have been just one storm. I mean, they very well could have, but, I find it unlikely.
Well, on that note, we're going to have to end the show.
And 99L looks like it might hit Hispaniola according to the HWRF, but I don't really believe that. So, thank you for watching this 1 hour rambling show, more or less, of us just discussing
Yes.
what's going on in the active tropics, which hasn't been active lately. So,
More
I mean,
to
this
come,
year-
of course.
this year's been kind of quiet, but we're getting on that August-September borderline, so get ready for some activity.
Worldwide,
Oh.
we've been running about average.
Atlantic's
is
been, I feel like,
annoying.
more active than normal because we had, the clouds named in the clouds and Danielle named in
Oh, yeah.
June and May.
Let's
know
not
what you're
discuss
talking
that. Let's not discuss that.
This
Yeah.
was Force 13 Live. I was Nathan Foy, and I was joined by Devon, John, and Hank, with Orlando over there in the background. We'll be back again some other time, very soon, probably, because the situation is developing around the world. Thanks, guys, for joining us, and thank you, the viewers, as well. If you've got any questions, use the social media handles Force 13 on Facebook and Twitter, or you can add Fool13, FOOL13, on Skype. That's all for now, and we may do some more recorded updates in between, so stay tuned to Force 13. Thank you. Good night.
Peace. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.